Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mystics Outlook. We got Cardo Dudley Jr. here. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Now, the Valkyrie, they hold off the Mystics 76-74 in Washington's game out in the Bay. Brittany Sykes continued to get to the foul line, continue to put the ball in the basket. That said, in this one, Washington struggled a bit offensively. Defensively, I can't really get too mad at them, but which has been a nice, refreshing theme throughout the first three games. However, Carter, I'm gonna let you go on this because there's some circumstances in which this didn't need to happen.
Yeah, I feel like they came in thinking this was an easy one because the Valkyries struggled in their franchise opener, not even just season opener. First game in franchise history, they struggled. Um, but you can't go off that. It's early in the season, and you know my saying, we gotta see what happens when it's enough games played where you can have a decent scouting report on everybody. And clearly, they were locked into the Mystics coming in here, 2-0. Rookies playing well, whatnot, and they were keyed in on certain players, specifically the rookies. The Brittany Sykes had 30, but it was a fairly inefficient 30 outside 3-point shooting. She was 3 or 5. She found a way to get to the line, 11 or 14. 5 rebounds, 4 assists. But in a lot of ways, for most of the game, it seemed like she was the only one that showed up. You know what I mean? The Mystics played very sloppy. They came in fourth in the league in turnovers. I think they averaged like a little over 10. Tonight, they turned the ball over 18 times, and the Valkyries scored 17 points. That's a lot of points just to hand to the other team that's struggling. Because look, the Valkyries only shot 31% from the field, and they shot 18% from deep. They got most of their points from the free throw line and turnovers, getting out in transition and whatnot. And the free throws was honestly exposing the weakness of this Mystics team. No, they were 2-0. They haven't been great defensively. They're very handsy. They play aggressive, but they can be sloppy and they reach too much, and it makes it easy for the opposing team to bait them and get ticky-tack fouls that build up. And next thing you know, they're in a bonus early, and the opposing team's going to the line often. That's what you saw tonight. The Valkyries with 23 of 28. Veronica Burton, who led the team with 22 points and 9 rebounds and 5 assists. She was 7-8 from the line. That just can't happen. The Mystics definitely have to clean up their defensive woes, man, because look, they were 2-0 coming in, but they only they were ninth in the WNBA before tonight. They gave up 87.5 points per game, and their defensive rating is 111.9, which is 11th out of 13 teams, 11th in the WNBA. They haven't been good defensively at all, man. So they don't have much room for error where they turning the ball over, and allowing teams to just have their way and get easy points, man. You just can't allow that. The Valkyries were very inefficient. In their first game, they were inefficient today. They won the game because of what the Mystics did. And credit to them, I'm not going to, just totally act like they didn't make plays and stuff when they needed to. Big 3 down the stretch. They hit their free throws. They battled. They fought, especially when Tiffany Hayes went out. Prayers up for her. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious. She left the game with they said it was an injury to her nose. It was a lot of blood. Hopefully it's nothing serious like a fracture or something like that, where she's gonna miss a lot of time. But we know the nose injuries can be serious. On the fella side of things, Richard Hamilton. That's why he wore that mask. Remember, if you saw him early in his career with the Wizards, UConn, he never had that mask. He took an injury to the nose. He had to wear the mask for the remainder of his career because one more blow, they said, could be serious where he could be up out of here. You know what I mean? So, and definitely a career ender. So he had to play with that. But yeah, man. Kiki Irfan, she another double 10 and 12, 5 of 11. I wish you'd have been a little bit more aggressive. because outside sight, she was the only one that can kind of summon some type of offense. Citron, this was her first game where, offensively, she's like a rookie. You know what I mean? But she still fought. She battled. She gave you 8 boards. She tried to find other ways to help the team, but clearly it wasn't enough. Outside of those 3, man, everybody was pretty much in it. I know Jay Melbourne gave him 8 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists off the bench, but had 4 turnovers. She always going to defend. That's her calling card. She was efficient 3 or 5 from the field. But outside of that, man, they really didn't get much from anybody. They got the Valkyries were rugged. They were battling inside. They were extremely physical. And I think it just wore on the Mystics. And then obviously the frustration with the turnovers and, seeing the Valkyries go to the line a lot. They felt the pressure and they just didn't stay poised. It was a winnable game, but too many mental lapses, too many mental mistakes. And honestly, man, this might be a good loss because sometimes when you win, it gives you an out to not correct the things that are wrong with you. Defensively, they haven't been good all year. Maybe in spurts they have been, but they haven't been good all year. Now you have to address that because they came in as one of the most efficient team. No, my bad. The most efficient team in the WM. I'm talking about Washington. They were second in points per game, 92. Second in offensive rating, 117.7. They were second in field goal percentage, 51.2. First in 3-point percentage, 42.4. Got to the free throw line. Shot attempted 30 free throws, first in the WNBA, made 22 per game. Also first in the WNBA. Offensively, and I already told you about the turnovers. They didn't really turn the ball over until tonight. Offensively, they on point, man. They getting it done. It's the defense where it's just it's basically a shootout. And tonight they didn't have it offensively, and you saw what happened. So they got to correct the end of the floor, or it's going to be up and down all throughout the season, man. And look, Brittany Sykes, she's playing at all WNBA level, but the workload that she got to carry right now, that it's hard to see her sustaining that throughout the season, especially someone so explosive as her. She's had many injuries that have popped up, man. So other players have to step up and help her, man. You know what I mean? She can't. That's a tough load to carry, especially in this league. It's a grind. So, but look, it's just one loss. It's just back to the drawing board, but they got to do something defensive about their defense, or the loss is going to come sooner than later and often.
You said in spurts, it has to happen. It has to be sustained. You talk about the turnovers. It's grown every game they've played. 9 turnovers in the game against the Dream, which was okay because they forced the Dreams into 16 turnovers. Scored 20 points off the turnovers they forced in that game. Against Connecticut, just 13 turnovers. They gave up more points in Connecticut, the turnovers, but Connecticut turned the ball over 3 more times, so it was okay. And then couple the turnovers matched with the offensive efficiency, as you just said. You got 2 wins. Defense held up in spurts. 2 wins. You can't have the turnovers with bad offense. So now you can't. We went through this with the Wizards at times, talking about different boxes that they have to check each night because of the margin of error, right? And through 3 games, you just laid out perfectly where they are in terms of what boxes need to be checked. While they did win on the boards tonight, that was a positive. Turnovers negate that. Bad defense negates that. 6 less shots than the Valkyrie tonight, which is crazy considering the pace at which Washington wants to play, and that's where the turnovers play a big role for them because of we've heard since media day through training camp, the pace.
But you know what? They're not even doing good. They're not doing that any good. They're not good at that. They're 7th in the WNBA in pace at 78.2. So they're not even doing what the coach, like, that's what I'm saying. They won but it's early. Teams are trying to find themselves, man. And I'm not knocking it. Win by any means. I don't care if the score is 1-0 win, but they haven't played well. They haven't played nearly as well as you need to. Where all right, what they've done in their first two games is sustainable to continue to win, and they met their match tonight against a franchise team that got their first franchise. Now you part of history. First franchise win. You
said they're forever known as the Valkyries' first win in the WNBA. Happened tonight. Player of the game for you?
Man, yeah, gotta give it to Veronica Burton, man. 22, 9 to 5, couple steals, 6 of 11 from the field, 3 or 4 from deep. Got the win. Got to give it to her.
X Factor.
See that? This where it gets tough because you can go so many ways. I guess I'll go with Kayla Thorne, man. 18 and 5. She didn't shoot the ball well from the field, but she was 6 of 6 from the line. But to me, it was more so her defense. She was a plus 19. Like I said, the reason why a lot of the Mystics struggled is because the Valkyries were physical. They wanted to string defensively. They wanted to ugly up the game. And yes, the Mystics had a lot of turnover, but turnovers are usually caused by some physical, aggressive defense. And that's what you saw from all angles, even the bench. When they came in, you still had to deal with it. It was relentless, and that's why you saw some of the Mystics losing their cool, you know what I mean? Trying to retaliate, but all they did, you play right into the hands, and then you retaliate on the other end. They go into the free throw line, making you pay. So, yeah, definitely Kayla Thorne. She was all over the place. She frustrated a lot of the Mystics, for sure. You on mute. You on mute.
Everything you listed earlier in regards to this game, where they're at, they got 2 more games on this road trip. Those boxes need to be checked to have a chance at those next 2 games. You got the Aces in their building on Friday. All right. You got Phoenix after that in their building. There's AT and Satu. You get to deal with after Asia, Chelsea, Jewel, Jackie. Just laying it all out there. Where first thing that jumped in my mind with the things you were talking about was in terms of defensively, you're not getting back and getting stops against Chelsea and company. They're gonna try to run it up. Again, it's early in the year, but there are things that need to be addressed, and we'll get to see how they in this road trip. As of right now, they're 1-1 on the road trip. So you got 2 more games. See what that record looks like after the next 2 games before they come home. They take on the Indiana Fever. We will see you guys Friday, well, technically Saturday morning, after they take on the Aces.